What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I'm your host. I'm Caitlin Kenneth-Smith, and today's guest is someone I've wanted on the show for a long time because he's not just motivational, he's the real deal, like the kind of person that hears something is hard and scary, but then immediately goes, perfect, that means I have to do it. So I'm sitting down today with Sully Luepke, veteran, athlete, and someone who's worked at First Form, who just completed 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. And trust me, that headline is insane, but that's not even the best part of his journey, because Sully didn't just wake up and decide to do that. There's a full story behind it. Sports as a kid, the Air Force, getting out during the pandemic and losing that structure, rebuilding his identity, and then going and doing this marathon adventure while dealing with real pain, bulging discs, hip and SI joint issues, the whole thing. In this episode, we talk mindset, standards, discipline, community, books that have changed his life, what his training actually looked like, what fueling looked like, and the moment it got so hard, he literally had to switch from run to just keep moving forward. If you've been stuck, if you've been dealing with avoiding discomfort, if you keep telling yourself you're going to try something, this one's going to hit. So let's get into it and enjoy the show. Sully, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's been one of those things where I've been following you for a really long time, and I love your content and I love how you speak. And I've always been like, one day I will have this man on my podcast. And then when you did the marathon adventure that we'll talk about, I was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity to be like, hey, come on, we'll talk about that, but we'll also talk about who you are and how you got here, because obviously you didn't just wake up one day and decide I'm going to run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. There was kind of like a journey that went into it, I'm assuming.
There's definitely a journey that goes through it. I mean, just like all of us have a story. I have one, just like you have one. And thanks, for saying that you like to follow along. It probably started out probably a walk and talk or something like that. And I'm very appreciative of that, and I'm excited to be here. It goes both ways. I got to start to say, because watching you on your CrossFit journey and like the little bit that you filled me in with your eating disorder back in the day, and now even putting on muscle in your struggles, like it's been an inspiration to me. So I just wanted to let you know up front. So I'm honored to be here.
Hey, I appreciate that. And like I said, when we were talking, you're literally the definition of like what I would say the powerhouse mentality, because you seek discomfort, you keep the commitments you make to yourself regardless of how you feel, and you're clearly always chasing something else and stacking wins, as you would say. So, most people right now, they might see you on social media and be like, oh, that's the guy who ran the 7 marathons in the 7 continents in the 7 days, which again, we're going to get into, but that's not why I wanted you on. Obviously, I wanted you here because you're different than a lot of people. And I know that it didn't happen. You weren't born this way. Like, you actually had to try. So first of all, how did you get into fitness and all of that? Like, were you always an athlete when you were a kid, or was it just kind of like you found it later in life?
First off, I do this to all my friends, so welcome to the inner circle. Every single time my friends say try, I always send them the Yoda meme or the Yoda
Actually,
gift, and I'm just like, do or do not. There is no try, to the point to where I get an eye roll to start, and I'm just like, Yoda said it. So then we laugh about it.
It's funny because I do literally the same thing. If my client says, like, if I tell my client to like do this, they're like, I'll try, and I send like that meme.
Yep. And it's just like, so like I always say, like, I'm in a constant state of doing. Like, if like I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to try it. I am doing it. That's just welcome to the inner circle.
I love that. I feel included now. I'm literally the same way too.
Yes. So back to the original question. I played sports ever since I can remember. Like, my parents have photos of me in like a little baseball attire, playing baseball when I was like 3, playing soccer all the way up. And then like that's just what we did going into high school. So I started lifting weights around 12 years old to get ready for football. We were a big football town. And then played 1 year of college football, and then just you have to be in shape to be in the military. It's kind of a requirement. And
kind of.
I mean, there's some people that get around it, but that's a whole nother topic of conversation. Let's just say I kept on rolling in like finding my next athletic thing. So running, being strong for the military, it was a requirement. And then I found Spartan racing. And then because of Spartan Racing, I found CrossFit because at that time, Reebok and CrossFit and Spartan Racing all had like a partnership. And then it's just continued through there. I found that many of my closest friends and great people are in the athletic, the sport, the pushing themselves communities.
Yeah.
So I naturally gravitate towards that.
They're just really good people in those communities because we're all trying to get better.
hmm every day, and like how I said, like we're in a constant state of doing. Like it's peaks and valleys, but at the same time, like we're always trying to scale that next mountain. So
Correct. That's such a good
yeah.
thing to highlight too, because I feel like so many people they get into it and they have like that valley and they think,
hmm
oh well, this is it. I'm not meant for this. I should just quit. And that's why so many people remain kind of stagnant in life.
Yeah, and realistically, you're gonna quit every single time until the one time you don't.
Hmm.
Like and it's crazy to me how people don't want to step out of their comfort zone because they don't want to be seen as a failure. And I blame it on Instagram. Like everybody wants to look famous, like doing like showing their highlight reel and a lot of stuff like that. So like it's really, really important to realize like Mr. Olympia started with a single plate on the bar.
Correct.
Like they started at square one, just where you were. You just didn't see the come up. You only see years and years and years of hard work. And it's not going to be a microwave. It's going to take time. I always say reps and sets over a long period of time is going to get you where you need to go.
Hmm.
So that's just how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, and I love that because I mean I can't remember the exact numbers, but one of my friends once told me, Babe Ruth, one of the best home run hitters of all time, hit a lot more strikes than he ever did home runs. And it's the same
hmm
thing with anybody who's on any sort of journey. But because social media has like shown us all of the highlights, we think that something's wrong with us if we have a failure. And one of the biggest things I've learned throughout my journey is when I started to embrace failure and use it as a teaching instead of something that to be ashamed of, that's when I really started to see more progress in my life.
Yeah, and it like that is such a great foundation. Like like learning what not to do is kind of a requirement to figure out what to do.
Facts.
And, like the faster you can learn what not to do, it's the faster you can get moving in the right direction. So the worst thing you can do is kind of like stay put, and that's where that fight, flight, or freeze. Like a lot of people are stuck frozen. It's
Hmm.
not even the fact that they want to run away; it's the fact that they just don't know where to go, what to do. So like if you can take any movement in any direction. General Patton said in World War II, he's just like a good plan violently executed today is better than a perfect plan done next week because we
Hmm.
don't know if we're going to see next week.
Hmm.
So if we can get a good plan and violently execute on it, then look back on the plan and see what worked, what didn't, get rid of that. Now we continue to use what works. We're gonna make progress, and then you're gonna stack momentum. And Sal says this all the time. Sal Frisella. He says when you start keeping promises to yourself, you're gonna build confidence,
Hmm.
and that confidence comes from that momentum that you're building by doing what you say you are going to do. And that is so powerful. It could be just as simple as taking a shower every day because
Hmm.
you woke up full of anxiety and you couldn't take a shower. Well, let's take a shower, then maybe make your bed, and then we can stack wins from there.
Yeah, and it actually it goes in the opposite direction too. Is one of the reasons why I find so many people kind of get they get overweight, they get stuck, and they don't like who they are is because they've broken so many promises to themselves that they don't have any confidence. So it goes on one end to the other. And one thing that I teach my clients is like celebrate every single win, regardless of how little it seems, because when the more we celebrate wins, the more we become confident and we stack that momentum and we can continue building.
Absolutely. And people think there's two camps. They're like, you know, absolutely go hard, throw a party for everything, which I don't
Hmm.
agree with.
Correct.
But I'm with you in like you have to celebrate the wins. And then
Hmm.
there's that other camp of just like I can never celebrate anything. I'm never an accomplishment. Well, that sounds like a miserable life. So no, thank you.
Hmm.
Like like you got to be able. I say this every Friday on Flex Friday. Like you got to be able to pat yourself on the back.
Hmm.
Like what went right? What did I do? What did I accomplish? Pat yourself on the back and be like, cool. What's next?
Yep.
Like you should celebrate yourself. It is a freaking amazing thing that you did because you're doing it.
Hmm.
And like even if you screw up, there's this animated TV or movie. It's called, I think it's Meet the Robinsons, I want to
Hmm.
say. And in it, there's a scene to where the kid screwed up and he's apologizing. And the whole family, they're a family of inventors. They're like, yes, you messed up. And they're like, actually, I wish that would have been a bigger mess up. You should have saw mine. And they're
Hmm.
celebrating a failure because now you know what not to do. And like, you tried, you gave it the attempt. I hate tried. You gave it the attempt. You were doing something. And that's the whole lesson of like, you're gonna fail. It's part of life.
Yep.
Welcome to being human.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, don't
True.
get me wrong, you want the least amount of failures as possible on your way to success. But there's a quote that Jim Rohn says. He's like, it's true that you fail your way to success, but it doesn't have to be your failure. There's thousands of books of people that have written what not to do. So all you have to do is go out and read them. And that's actually what made me start reading. Is like, yes, failure is your way to success. It leads to a great foundation, but that failure doesn't have to be yours. It can be somebody else's as long as you're willing to learn from it.
Yes, and I think that's where so many people mess up is they don't take advantage of all of the resources that we have available to us to be able to learn. So reading is one of those things with me personally, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, is when I really started to read different personal development books, business books, all these things, I started to learn so much and I was able to like immediately apply it into my life.
Wait. Say that last part again.
Immediately apply it into my life.
Yes.
I like to
Yes.
say knowledge is not power, it has potential power. Applied
Yeah.
knowledge is what truly can become powerful.
Yep. And I look at it slightly a different way. I'm just going to say it because you said
Yeah.
it your way. Because one message might resonate with somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
We're both going in the same direction. So I got this from Eric Thomas, ET the hip hop preacher in 2014 or 2015, and he says, "Knowledge is not power. Implementation of knowledge is power." And it same saying the same thing just in a different way. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many times you read a book, or if it's telling you to do X but you refuse to do X because you're not taking action and just go read the next book. Well, that was kind of a waste of time, and the worst thing that we can do is waste time.
Yep. Yep. Andy Frisella talks about that a lot on his podcast where he used to when he did the MS
Success
studio.
fairy.
The success. Yep. You're just sucking out all of like you're going to all the conferences, you're doing all the things, but you're not actually
Hmm.
taking it. Like you're just getting hyped from it and not doing anything with it. And that literally does nothing.
Hmm.
What do you feel like are there any books that you've read, whether it be as of late or in the past, that you feel like have really made an impact on your life?
The Secret. I can't remember who it's by. Is it Bynes? That's gonna bother me. Um, if you could put it in the show notes or something like that, it'd be great for
I
me.
will.
But it's also a movie, and I found that through Lisa Nichols.
Mhm.
She's one of my mentors from afar. So she has a book, Abundance Now. That's a phenomenal book. So I found The Secret via Abundance Now, and those two are very good resources. And also the last lecture. Once again, his name escapes me. But basically, it's about a professor who is going to die. He has terminal cancer, and he's given the opportunity to give one last lecture at the school that he taught. And it's just really powerful. I believe it's 68 messages of
Mhm.
like just kind of life lessons, and he cut them down. There was more, and these were like the ones that he cut out, and it's a really cool snapshot of having somebody kind of journal these lessons and life lessons about working, finances, kids, wife, everything like that, relationships, and it's a really really powerful book.
Mhm.
Now, for more self improvement wise, oh gosh,
First of all, that
there's a
sounds
ton of
like a
them.
great book. Like I'm like noting
And
that to be able to
I'm
read it.
telling you, like and it's in little chapters. You can actually also Google or YouTube it, and like the actual lecture is online. But
That's
him and
awesome.
his co-author, they flush it out a little bit more in the book, so it's really really cool. So you can
Mhm.
see both of them, and I highly suggest it because it's in little chapters to where like you could literally wake up and just read this one little one, and then
Mhm.
get on your day, and then you could start it over. So I
Mhm.
always did it when I read my Proverbs. So I read a Proverbs, then I go to the last lecture, and it's a quick read, 5-10 minutes, and you're off on your way.
Mhm.
For self improvement wise, Vision Lakiani, the first like real self-improvement one that I can remember. Actually, it's the second one. The Code of an Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani. He basically talks about how the brain is a supercomputer, and we have our default programming that we get from our childhood and our parents and our society that we were raised in, but that doesn't have to be it. And
Hmm.
he teaches how to reframe and reprogram your mind. So that was like the first one, and I go back to that one all the time. I'm like, you have to read this book before we can even like start having a conversation.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of books like that where you read it. It's like my first personal development book was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Is that it?
That should be taught in every high school
I
on planet Earth.
swear, because most people don't know how to have a conversation with human beings. So it's
Hmm.
like we need to communicate better. I think that and Atomic Habits, those are like two books that I recommend to my clients, like right off the bat. Like, hey, read Atomic Habits because this is the stuff we're going to start implementing and it'll really help you moving forward.
Hmm.
It's like very
Yeah, those
simple books.
two fantastic resources. James Clear is freaking awesome.
Hmm.
Dale Carnegie, the OG. It's crazy how like just human connection and like being able to talk to people, like though it's changed, it's still pretty much the same.
It really is. Like it's funny
It's
too when you
crazy.
read the book and it's like, give your secretary flowers and stuff. And I'm like, that's funny. That's not like a thing really anymore. But
There's those little things in there. I did see in a Barnes and Noble, because it's dangerous to go into Barnes and Noble because you're going to spend way too much money
oh my
on it.
gosh, every time.
Um, I did see that they updated it. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People for the Digital Age. Haven't read
Interesting.
it yet, so I can't recommend it, but I did see that that is a thing. So
I feel like that was
so
just
I'm
like
not
it
sure.
was a long time coming type situation on that one.
Yes. Yes. So, yes, so there's that. But yeah, books are so powerful. They're the key to another world, realistically. Like if you want to level up in life, like read books.
It's
And
such an easy way too.
it really is. And so like I made a determination this year I'm not going to read like X amount of books a year.
Hmm.
I am going to reread the books that have made an impact on me. So, like for business wise, I'm rereading all three of Hormozi's books,
Hmm.
and
Great books.
then yes, then I'm rereading The Secret. I'm rereading The Code of an Extraordinary Mind. I'm rereading The Last Lecture, and then I have two more on the list that I are waiting to get put on the list, and I'm just gonna reread them throughout the year. So I might not read 60 books in a year, but I'm going to get everything out of these pages. And if I don't, I'm probably going to get it on the next reread.
I think that's powerful too because the amount of times where I've reread a book and I learned something completely different based on where I'm at in my life. So the Magic of Thinking Big is one book that I've read like
Oh,
6 times at this point. Probably need to read it again. It's like coming up on that time. But every
hmm
single time I take something different away based on where I'm at in my life. And there have been many books, I don't know about you, where I'll pick it up and I'll start reading it and not really get into it. And then I'll come back to it later in life and realize I need this now.
Yep. Yeah. You'll come back, and I always call it searching for a golden nugget.
Hmm.
Like I just had this. I had a book that I wasn't extremely interested in, and then one of the last two chapters, and I was just like, "Holy shit! This was the golden nugget that I was looking for in the book."
Yep.
And maybe in 10 years, if I come back to this book, the first chapter will hit me with a golden nugget. But
Hmm.
it's just like in that moment in my life, how you said, like I needed that message.
Hmm.
And if you come back to it, there's going to be more messages that you have because you're going to be in a different place in life.
Correct. Yeah. Have you read the Power of One More by Ed Milet?
I have. Yep.
That's one of those books too. I've reread it a couple times where, oh wow, I got way more out of the first chapter than I ever have, and then
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
super powerful.
I remember seeing Ed. It was before The Power of One More came out, but he was speaking on it, and then he wrote the book about it. And when he talked about it was his son's birthday, and the guy at the car wash. Are you familiar with this story?
I'm not.
Okay, so he went to a car wash, and there was a guy at the car wash, and basically the guy said um like happy birthday, right?
Hmm.
And basically that life doesn't really get better from when you're young. And Ed was just thinking on it. He's just like, holy Christ, like when did that like stop for you? Like when did you stop growing as a human? Was it when you were 20, when you were 25, when you were 30? Because life gets better because you can put all, like I'm 32 years old, so I'm turning 33. I can put all 32 years into my 33rd year.
Hmm.
So I have all of this experience. And it's like people tend to get miserable when they stop growing and when they
Yep.
stop using the lessons that they've gotten in their throughout their life and putting it into their future self.
hmm It's
And
similar,
that's the
like there's a
key.
quote, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's something similar to like most men die at the age of 28 or 27, but then they get buried at the age of 80. And it's
Yep.
unfortunately so true because so many people just they settle. That's really what it comes down to.
hmm and like, let's be real. In the United States, it's easy to settle.
It is.
We have we are blessed to live in a first world, but in a first world with everything available. And honestly, most of us are making enough money to get by.
hmm
It's very easy to settle and not want to lose anything. Because once again, getting out of your comfort zone is a very difficult thing to do. We're comfortable there. We don't want to push limits naturally. That's just ingrained in human beings. And the key is set a goal, figure out a plan, act on that plan, review, and just repeat it until you get the goals that you set, or until you get the goals accomplished.
For sure. So now I know you're a veteran. So how did that kind of come? Did you always want to be in the military? I know you mentioned like, you have to be physically in shape to be in the military. Was it always something you wanted to do or did it just kind of happen?
Oh, this is such a fun story because
It always is.
I was such an ignorant kid. So no, like legitimately. So you're gonna God, anybody listen to this part? So I joined the United States Air Force. The reason I joined the United States Air Force was because when I watched Top Gun when I was a little kid, probably too young, I fell in love with planes. So like instantly my brain was just like Air Force, planes. And like it says freaking Navy on the side of the planes in Top Gun, right? Like their entire like one of the
I'll just defend you here. It literally to me makes no fucking sense that the Air Force doesn't fly planes.
It's just so crazy. So yeah, so like I fell in love with planes, and then I did the college thing. I played 1 year of football, and I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. So I wanted to enlist at that point in time, get out of the central Wisconsin. I went to school in Minnesota, so I was like, it's cold, let's go.
Yeah.
Enlisted in the Air Force. And that's just kind of how it came to be. I've always wanted to serve. I had an uncle that was just kind of like one of his biggest regrets was not serving, and I was like, it's not going to be me. I am
Mhm.
going to serve my nation. So that's how it kind of came about, and that's how I joined the Air Force. Um, and it was just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to serve. I would be kicking myself. I know if I would have made it through college initially, I would have joined at that time because it was just on my heart to serve the nation. And because I fell in love with planes, the United States Air Force was where it was going to happen.
How long were you in the Air Force for?
Yeah, so I was in for 7.5 years. And I had the blessing to live in Texas. I had the blessing to live out in Washington State, and then I had the blessing to live out in Sicily,
Oh wow,
Sicily,
nice.
Italy. Yep, yep. Get to, live out there for 2 years on America's dime. But hey, I pay taxes, so it was my dime too. All right, so
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're serving the nation, like people who serve our country, and I'm not just saying this because my husband serves the country, but they need a little bit more love and attention.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Bring it on, bring it on. So yeah, so then I got out in 2020 in the midst of a pandemic, which probably
Oh,
wasn't the
beautiful.
smartest move, but we did it. We did it.
When you got out, because I feel like this is something that a lot of people struggle with, did you find you were lost without the structure of being in the military?
Oh, big time.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. And I mentioned the pandemic because everything was shut down, which kind of made it worse. Like
Mm-hmm.
normal people, like you guys felt it. Like even working from home, even if you kept your job, if you didn't keep your job and they wanted us to stay home and not have that human interaction, it was very difficult on everybody. Now, imagine that like your entire work structure, wearing the uniform for 7.5 years, having a specific mission, serving your country. One day you're doing that, then the next day it's not there. Like everything was taken away from you. Not getting a paycheck no more. I don't have any insurance. I don't have anything, right? They just send me back home to Wisconsin, the place that I wanted to leave. And they said, because it was my home of record, and they're just like, good luck, bud. Um, so it was very difficult. And I always tell people, when you're building a building, you put up scaffolding, right? To keep people safe, to be able to work on separate floors, like everything like that. When you leave the military, your scaffolding gets taken away.
Mm-hmm.
and you no longer you're just a structure. Like you have nobody here for you. You have nobody there to reach out to because my friends are in Japan, Germany, Texas, and I'm sitting up here in Wisconsin. So like my friends were all over the place that I made for the last 7.5 years, and you don't really have a connection to your hometown anymore because you've been gone, and
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. You've just been gone. So it was very difficult, and especially that's why I said like getting out in the middle of a pandemic wasn't exactly the smartest move because like it just amplified that.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh, where do I go to get a job? Not a lot of places are hiring. A lot of people are just like letting go of people.
Yep, yep, yeah, exactly. And but that's also it did give me an opportunity to kind of pause, take a breath, and figure things
Yeah.
out. So in a way, that was a blessing. I was able to come back, be with my family, reconnect with them, and then it allowed me to take a breath and figure out what I wanted to do and how was I going to execute on it.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it took a look of like, oh my God, kind of how we started this conversation. Fitness communities and doing hard things has kind of been like a big thing in my life, and it has
Yeah.
always brought me joy, and it had always had me feel connection.
Yeah.
So as soon as I found out, I listened to a podcast with Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, and Andy was just like, throw in an application. We're operating as usual. Like, screw this pandemic thing. And so that's when I put in my application and I moved out to St. Louis, Missouri.
And you started in the warehouse, I assume?
I did. I did. I actually stayed in the warehouse for close to 4 years, the entire time I was there.
Nice.
Yep.
So obviously, did you just were you listening to Andy Frisella's podcast and that's how you came about First Form, or were you already like a fan of First Form using their products?
Um, I mean, in all truth, like I never used the First Form product in my life. I listened to Andy Frisella when he was still on SoundCloud,
Damn.
like way back. I know I'm showing my
Those
age here.
MFCEO days.
Way back,
Grief. Yep.
like like I can't remember. It was Thursday Thunders and like
Yep.
just long form episodes with Vaughn and
The
like I
preacher.
was I was one of the OG like listeners. So like I really found him when I was deployed in 2016,
Yeah.
and I was just like, hey, this kind of makes sense. Like, so I figure I'd listen to this guy. And that's how I continued. And then when they switched over to Real AF was I think it's like episode 104. It's winning is more fun than fun is fun.
That's a great
Um, that's the episode. And specifically, Andy, I think just told this story, but I'll say it again. It was Andy talking about when he interviewed Steve Wozniak, and Steve Wozniak's proudest moment was being able to look out and basically see Millionaire Row of the employees. They built houses worth millions of dollars, and it wasn't the money that Steve got. It wasn't the success that Apple had. It was the success that his employees had and able to build those houses. Andy was like, I want to build that here in St. Louis. And I was like, I could work for a guy like that.
Mhm.
And that then because I didn't take any of the products, when I got ingrained in the culture and started learning about it with the core values and everything like that, it's just like, cool, this is a great way to live.
Yep.
Like, just live by this code, doing the right things for the right reasons, serving people is the right way to live. And that's where it's just like it's just been a rocket ship ever since.
Yeah. I mean, First Form, they're an incredible company, but I think a lot of people don't realize the high expectations that they have for their employees.
Hmm.
Like, I know that you probably learned a lot. Like, what do you feel like you learned from working at First Form? Like, is
Oh
there anything that you could
gosh.
take away?
Yeah, I mean, let's see here. I mean, there's just so much, right? So the biggest thing I learned is like having the right people around you can
Mhm.
change where you're at in life.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the right people around you, continuously do the little things that's going to move the ball forward in your life. It's different for all of us, but you have to figure out what the little things are for your life and do those every single day, and the right community will come into your life.
Hmm.
That's what I've learned. And one of my favorite stories, and it's kind of the behind the scenes in First Form. They don't have janitors, they don't have anything at HQ.
And
The
damn, it is the
employees,
cleanest place I've ever been. I'll tell you
it's,
that.
I like to think so.
It's
The employees
crazy.
take care of everything from the warehouse to the bathrooms to the desks, like everything.
Hmm.
Um, but the story that I like to tell is that like it truly starts at the top, right? So one time Andy was on a phone call and he was heading outside the gym, out of the gym, and he was going home, right? And so mind you, it's probably like 7 o'clock at night, and he's walking out, and I see him turn around and go on the incline bench and fix a 5 pound weight to straighten it out. That's what people don't see.
Mm-hmm.
It's that attention to detail to where like he went to fix a 5 pound weight that was just slightly off because he wanted it correct, and that's the way he operates, and that's what I learned the most
Mm-hmm.
is like if you truly want to be successful at a high level, everything matters.
Yep.
And if
Yep.
you say that this is important to you, like because Andy could totally in his gym just be like, I don't care how the weights look,
Mm-hmm.
but he says that this is important to him. So A, that's the standard for everybody. I mean, he owns the building, like that is the standard to everybody, but also he lives by it. So he is going to fix that weight, and then that gives me no reason not to fix the next weight.
Right.
And so, like, maybe in my life, that's not a priority to me, but something else is. That's the standard I hold in my life. And that is the thing that I do no matter what, even if I'm busy, even if I'm on the phone call, even if it's a rough day, that is the thing I'm doing. That's what I learned is
Yep.
Andy says it all the time. Your standard is the standard. So if whatever standards you put into your life, don't compromise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Set the standard, hold the standard, and standards are contagious, and that's exactly what I feel like that
Hmm.
community shows. Is like it's like you said, it starts from the top and it goes down, and it just like it's infectious.
Hmm.
Like I remember there was one time where I was visiting First Form, and I was with a bunch of people, and we went to Billy G's, and everybody from who was with First Form was like cleaning the counters in the bathroom, and then I just started seeing people start doing it, like who weren't with us, and I was like, that's actually cool. It shows like, oh, they're seeing us do it, so they're gonna kind of uphold that standard as well because it makes them feel good too.
Yeah. And nobody wants to be the asshole. Like,
No,
let's be real.
exactly.
Like,
That's really what it is.
nobody wakes up and like, I'm going to be the asshole today. Like, some people are assholes, but that's just because they haven't been
Except for the
checked.
people who leave their grocery carts in the middle of the parking lot. Those
Oh
people need
man,
to
we are the change. Like, I
yeah.
dislike those people. Like, you
Every
can
time I
tell how healthy a community is
every time
because
I
of that.
see somebody do it too, I'm just
Yep.
like, I'm gonna intentionally just like go out of my way, fix this, and like, oh hello, like
Yes.
be the
Yes.
bigger person.
It is. You just be the bigger person. You'll take it back, and there's respectful ways to do it too. It's just like,
Right.
oh, you can walk up and you can just be like, hey, are you done? And like, if you're walking towards like, it's fine. Like, and just
Mhm.
fix it, and then maybe that'll impact them, and mind, in your mind, in their mind, they'll realize that like, hey, this is the right thing to do,
Yep,
and it
absolutely.
wasn't malicious. It didn't have any ill intent. You just go up to them and like, hey, are you done? Like, I'll put it back for you,
Hmm.
and then they're just like, oh, damn. Like that's what people do around here, and then like you said, it's infectious. So like
Hmm.
that's the way I like to look at it. I just, see a problem, fix a problem.
Yep, it's like leaving the place better when you leave, right?
Yep.
Where you found it.
Yep.
So let's get into your marathon adventure. Because clearly I feel like we've built up that this guy is serious. He sets standards, he holds standards, and that's how you get successful. But why did you want to run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents? Like, where did this come from? Was it just something that you saw and you were like, that looks really, really fucking hard. I want to do that. Or was it something that you
Okay.
always wanted to do?
So, no, let's get that out of the way. So the first thing that I'm going to say is that it scared me.
Yeah.
And whenever I find something that scares me, I'm just like, okay, now we got to do it. Because when it goes back to pushing limits in your mind and in your on your body and everything like that, like when you push up against a limit, you have two options. You can either go back into your comfort zone or you can expand them. And so as soon as I found this thing, like I looked at it online and I was just like, holy Christ, this scares me. I knew that I had to do it. Then the question was just how we figure out how to do it. Um, but that's the answer is like I saw it and it scared me. As for how it came my way, I have a tendency to do some crazy stuff, adventure races, Spartan races, things like that. So one of my friends sent me it. They're like, "Have you seen this?" And I'm just like, "Now I have." And then all of a sudden, Instagram targeted ads, they got me, and I'm just like, "All
Mm-hmm.
right, we're in. We're in." That's all I needed. I needed the extra push. So Yeah, like I'm not a runner. I'm a thick boy. Like we were making jokes, me and a couple other guys, like we're like thick boys run, stay beefy, like that. Like we like to lift weights, right? And do a little bit of running, but that's about it. Never did I think I would be doing 184.2 miles in 1 week.
That's crazy when you think about it like that. Have you ever done a marathon up into this point?
Oh, yes, yes. I've done I did a handful of marathons, and then like normally for Spartan races, I do Spartan Ultras, at least two a year,
Hmm.
and those are 32 miles, so those are 50 Ks.
Yeah.
So I've always run more than a marathon, and I kind of like those because you're just on a path. Or not on a path. You're out in nature. You're chilling, like you're having fun, carrying things up a mountain, but like never just straight running. That was different for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was like what drew me to it, but also what scared me the most
Hmm.
is because I haven't had that experience of running. So then it was just like, okay, cool. Like, what do I have to do to make this a thing?
Hmm. So when did you make the choice that, okay, I'm signing up for this versus the day that it started? Like how much time was between that?
I believe when I first started, so the timeline was basically the start of the year, either end of December, early January, to when I was just like, okay, like this is the goal. Um, I believe because I did a payment plan, so then it was like March, June, and September for all the to get the registration fees and everything taken care of. But it was the beginning of the year, and the funny thing was at that point in time, and I kind of kept it on a down low. I could barely walk. Like I was hobbling. I have four bulging discs. I have an impinged hip that leads to really bad SI joint and sciatica nerve pain. So I couldn't walk or like even run until the end of May. So last year was one of the most or 2025 was like one of the most challenging years I've ever had in my life. And like to the point to where I couldn't sneeze without being in crippling pain. So having to work through that and knowing having this mental anguish that was just getting heavier and heavier, knowing that I have to prepare for a race like this, it
Hmm.
really weighed on me. Um, and it made it all the more sweeter on that seventh marathon when I was able to hug the race director and, kind of get the medals and entrance to the World Marathon Club.
I bet. And that's the thing that people don't see is that people think like, oh, I wish I could do that like him because I'm in this pain. I go through this. I herniated a disc last year too. Fucking
Mhm.
when you say like you can't even sneeze without being in agony, that is not a joke. It's like reality. And it's scary when you go from being this fit, athletic person who, you can do whatever you want, you know, to all of a sudden you're in crippling pain. But now on top of that, you have the stress of I have these races, and it's not just like this one race. It's like I have this very stressful thing coming up, and
Mhm.
I can barely run right now. Did you ever, at any point during this build, think I'm not going to be able to make this happen?
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, like I was in tears talking to my mom. I had a lot of conversations with my friend Caleb. We'd sit out there, we're grilling up some burgers and stuff like that. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know, like like I don't know. But
Yeah.
then it also came back to like we're gonna figure it out. What rehab do I have to do? What exercises on a daily basis? How can I start doing my cardio? I can control the controllables. So I wake up, make my bed. Like wake up, read, wake up, go for a walk. I always called it a hobble. Go for a hobble. Get on the bike, sit on a bike and do zone two cardio. Like do everything that is possible to set myself up for success. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, my body's not cooperating right now, but until I can't toe the start line, we're operating as if I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's just the mentality I had was control the controllables right now, today, and then we'll work towards this goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blessed enough to um, have some really good PT, have some really good chiropractors, have some really good just people around me. Shout out to Brock Woods. He owns the CrossFit gym, Arnold CrossFit. And I told him, I'm like, hey man, like right now I can't even do anything, so I'm gonna stop coming around. So to put my membership on pause. And he's like, that's cool. He's like, what helps with healing? Community. So this was February. I remember it vividly because all he did was want me to come to the gym and hang out. Like just maybe roll a little bit, do this, that, or the other. But like he just wanted me there to have that community structure. That
Mm-hmm.
way I wasn't alone. because humans want to self-isolate. That's just what we do. We don't want to be a bother to anybody.
Hmm.
And I'm very thankful for Brock because I don't know if I'd, would have finished the races or even got to the start line if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have some incredible people in your life. Um, so what did the training kind of look like once you were able to actually start training running?
Yeah. So um, when I could finally start training again, I went through a 3 week strength phase, which so the main motor movements for repetitions for weights was 4 to 6 reps because I had to rebuild my strength.
Right?
Um, because like I lost so much muscle mass, I gained so much fat just from being immobile or not being able to do much. And even if you eat the cleanest as can be, like it's going to add up a little bit at a
Right.
time. So I had 5 months that I needed to like quote unquote make up for, which is impossible, as you know. Like you can only do what you can right here, right now. So I did a 3 week strength phase, 3 week hypertrophy phase, and that's when I brought my body fat back to like kind of where I wanted it to be. And then I started a 9 week endurance cycle. So in that strength phase, that doesn't mean that I wasn't doing anything endurance wise. So like I'd go on a ruck for an hour. I'd go on a zone two cardio on the bike. I'd continue that. A short run to start building up my mileage, getting time on feet. Hypertrophy, you just increase it a little bit more. So these are you're coupling strength workouts and endurance workouts and going through it. And
Hmm.
then how I say, if you want to be successful, you figure out a goal and then you seek out people that have done it or that can get you there, and then you create a plan. So I sought out one of my veteran buddies. An amazing Spartan racer, an amazing runner, high rocks competitor, high level. And I was like, hey, can you make a running plan for me? So that's what we did. We came together every single week. We did a lot of heart rate training to keep my zone two down because marathons are marathons. It's a long time. You're going to be in the zone two, and we just slowly built up the mileage and peaking when I needed to peak.
Hmm.
Um, and that's how we did it. Like it was strength phase, hypertrophy phase, building the muscle mass, getting the body where I wanted it to be able to handle this amount of like quote unquote pounding the pavement. And then a 9 week endurance phase to slowly build up the muscles or slowly build up the mileage
Hmm.
and keeping the heart rate down while I do those mileage and peaking at the right time for the race.
That's a beautiful plan. I think a lot of people underestimate how much strength you need to be able
Yeah.
to endure what you endured.
Yeah. Yeah. And realistically, like I would have liked to be 10 pounds lighter, but that's fine. I also like being an athlete. So,
Yep.
I do a bunch of different stuff and I was never like a runner.
Hmm.
So, you know what? And got through it. We got to the start line. We got through it.
That's dope. So talk to me about how this race was done. Like in order, like what continents you went to.
hmm
How was it like just I guess done? Yeah, that would be the word.
Okay. So originally the race, we were supposed to race at Antarctica first, but because of weather, we weren't able to do that.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah. That's what happens when you go to a continent that nobody lives on full time.
I think that was the craziest thing aesthetically to see. Like where
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
from, to be like a bunch of people just fucking running a marathon in Antarctica, bundled up.
It was unbelievable. It was really crazy to see. Um, but so then we started in South Africa, which was an amazing way to kick off. We
Oh, I
had
bet.
a beautiful day and we ran right on the ocean. And so we started there and then we went to Antarctica and it was
That's just like 360.
it was so crazy. So well, first I got to tell a story. After my first marathon, I ran a 3:37 and my coach texted me because we wanted sub 4 hour marathons. That's what we wanted our average to be.
Yeah.
My coach texted me. He's just like, This is quite literally a marathon, not a sprint. Slow the fuck down. I'm just like, it's on me. That's on me. So by the time we went to Antarctica, we landed. And it's like 24 hours of light. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're about to run our second marathon within 24 hours.
That's crazy. See, the craziest part about all this is that, you run a marathon, then you recover and you chill.
hmm
And recovery obviously plays such a big role in anything. And
Yep.
I'm sure your recovery was absolute trash just because you were probably not sleeping very well. And you were also traveling to all these different time zones while running.
Yeah, and that's something that you can't really practice for because
Oh,
like you're
yeah.
not going to be on a plane in a pressurized environment for 10 hours at home, right?
Hmm.
So that was a really big role. But it turned out not to be as bad as it was.
Yeah.
We had first class cabins for everybody. We were able to lay pretty
Nice.
flat. So that definitely helped out. And basically, after you get running a couple of marathons, you're just gonna fall asleep. Like your body's just
That's
like,
true.
we're, we're going to fall asleep. So what was crazy though was when we ran in Antarctica, it was the coldest day that they had of the year.
Of course.
And then yeah, it was great. It was great. It was like -27 to like
Oh,
-5 with a ton of wind. And
yeah.
then the very next day we flew to Australia, and because it's their spring going into summer, it was the hottest day they had of the year so far. So we had over a 100-degree flip flop between Antarctica and Australia.
I bet
That's what
that
was
felt
one of the
so
craziest things.
amazing on your body.
Oh my God. So my entire motivation to get out of Antarctica was to get out of the cold.
Yeah.
And my entire motivation in Australia was to get out of the sun. Like, it's great. You just got to play these games. It's just like,
Yeah.
all right,
Oh,
cool.
definitely.
Like, what game can I play today? And that's what those were the two games for those two. It was great.
Dang, that's crazy. How did food and nutrition look during this time?
Yeah, eat everything in sight.
Yep.
Like it gets to that point to where like, after a race I always made sure to have my first warm post workout. So I had a high glycemic carbohydrate which is ignition, and then my whey protein, I had some clear protein. So they hooked me up with that, and I made sure to hit that every time just to
Makes a
kickstart
difference.
that
It truly
recovery. It
does.
does. It really does. And then basically they'd always have some food ready and available for us. So like I think in Australia we had pizza. Then like we door dashed because like we stayed there a little while. We door dashed some like a big old Angus Wagyu steak burger. And like I was just like, I just need proteins and carbs. Like that's all I need. I don't care about
Yep.
anything else. And then on the plane, like I said, we were really blessed. So like we were getting steak, we were getting potatoes, we were getting pasta, we were getting fish, we were getting chicken, pretty much any protein source with a massive carb. So like just eat everything in sight that you possibly can, and stick to the foods because you
Yes.
don't want it to screw up your gut. So
Yeah.
like I didn't eat anything exotic that entire time. Like it was all the foods that I knew. If I couldn't pronounce it or if I didn't know what it was like, nope, not going to do that because I didn't want it to screw up my gut.
Yeah. That's something that I feel like people don't think about. It's like if you're doing a marathon,
Mhm.
just like practice your fueling. Don't just
Yeah.
grab a random gel that they're handing out to you on the tracks because you have no idea how your body's going to respond to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is so that's why I always say like get a coach, like get a
Yep.
goal, get a coach, because that coach is going to be able to coach you through those things. So on my training runs, we were practicing what to have throughout these training runs. As our
Yep.
mileage goes up, it's like when are we going to have the goos or the gels or the little protein bar that will fuel you until we stop again. And what is your water intake going to look like? What kind of electrolytes are you using? Like we're practicing all this stuff leading through, and that's why it's really really important to have a coach. Like I am an athlete. I've done marathons. I've done all this kind of stuff before, but he is more experienced in this niche to where like I have so much to learn. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't I seek him out and then listen to him?
Hmm. And I think that the power of having a coach too is that it takes like the emotional side out of it, right? Because
Yep.
we're just like emotional people. That's just humans. So like we might talk ourselves out of something that might actually be good for us because we're
Hmm.
thinking about, oh well, what if, versus like actually listening
Yeah.
to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say too is just like it's amazing what paying the money actually does.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
if you think you're committed now, like pay a little bit of money and then you're really going to get committed.
A hundred
And I
percent.
think that's one of the biggest game changers as well.
Mm-hmm. So then it was South Africa, Antarctica, Australia.
Australia.
What came
Yeah.
next?
Then we went to Abu Dhabi, which was freaking crazy. We flew into a private airport,
Interesting.
and yeah, like I think it was literally called like the King's Airport or something like that. But when we came to the flight line, there's private helicopters, there's private jets all over the place, and I was just like, yeah, we're getting first class treatment. We went into a private terminal. It was absolutely unbelievable, and then we went into the city, and I was just like, where are we running? Right by the
Yeah.
water, like right by the water, and it was. absolutely stunning. The people were really nice. Like, but of course, we ran at like 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning. So then we're hitting the hottest day,
Yeah.
and if you know anything about Abu Dhabi, it's never cool.
It doesn't sound like a cool place.
No, no, it's in the middle of a desert.
Yeah,
So
that's what it sounds like.
that was an adventure. But after that, we got a little bit of a reprieve. We went to Portugal,
Okay.
and that race was stunning, absolutely stunning. Um, it was a little seaside town, and it was like 65 degrees. The
Nice.
entire town, because it's like a summer town, was actually very quiet. So the entire town like came out to cheer us on.
That's epic.
And oh, it really was. And the
Especially on
setup for
like
the
the fifth
race, oh,
marathon, like you just need a little bit of like, give me like some
it was
help.
it was literally you take everything you could, like
Hmm.
like throwing whatever wood you had left onto the fire. Like that's all it was. And like that little motivation and like that little push from the eighth graders that they had come out and cheer us on, all the way down to the 5-year-olds that they had out of school to come cheer us on. It was unbelievable.
Hmm.
And it was truly a blessing. And that race was so fun.
Yeah.
Like it was
W-
it
Was
was
that was that the best one out of all of them?
um I would say it was the best I felt. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
Hmm.
That's actually the one where I ran my fastest marathon. It was 3:35. And like for that being my fifth marathon and running a 3:35, I was just like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Um, I know it's good to know that I have faster ones in the tank if I was fresh.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And like it still wasn't like sprinting, but like I said, like you just have all that motivation from all the outside sources, and it was one of the biggest game changers. It was probably my, I would say, third favorite.
Hmm.
Um, because I always say like the Miami one, or oh, God, that's so tough. It's so tough to pick them.
I bet.
Like they were all amazing. But South Africa was my favorite just because it kicked everything off and like the vibes were immaculate.
Yeah.
And the location was freaking cool. And then I always say like Antarctica, like because like just because like how
Like
many
not a lot
people
of
can
people
go
can
to
even say they've been to Antarctica, let alone like I ran a marathon in Antarctica,
Ex-
you know?
exactly. So like I always it's tough not to put that one in the top two or even top
Yeah.
one because it's just like vibes, like
Right?
like bragging rights. And then I want to put Miami up there because it was the final one, and I had William Bates and like the boys down there. So like
Yeah, that's
that was
nice.
pure vibes, and it was like finishing it out. Um, but like I would say Portugal was probably three or four, and for no reason. It's just like just the minute details, but like for how I felt, Portugal was number one. Like
Yeah.
I felt fantastic. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that was perfect because on the sixth one, I felt like total dog water. And it was the worst thing that I had done um, since getting healthy.
Yeah.
Um, because so we were in Colombia. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was 95. It was 100% humidity.
Oh.
And knowing that it's only going to get hotter, and my hip flexor just wouldn't let go. So my hip flexor, which then leads into my quad, which then leads into the top of my knee, like I
Mm.
couldn't bend my leg. So like
Yeah.
instantly I was like, this is going to be a shuffle. And I was like, this is fantastic. So shuffled that one to a 442. Still got it done. Was out in the sun and everything like a lot longer than I wanted to be.
Hmm.
But it didn't matter because I tell this story, and this is the way that a lot of people miss is like on my worst day now, I'm still better than my past self.
Yes.
So my first marathon I ever ran was like a 5:05. The one that I ran in Colombia at my worst, and it was my sixth marathon in 6 days, was a 4:42. So myself right now, broken down, can barely move his leg, is still better than the 2022 version of Sully running his first marathon.
Hmm.
Like thinking about that, it was just so surreal because
Yeah.
whatever I'm doing, it's working.
Hmm. That's a beautiful perspective to have. And it's something that I think about a lot in my training is like, I'll have like a really terrible training session and think, well, 6 months ago, I couldn't even fathom lifting this weight or something of that
Hmm.
nature, you know? So it's
Yeah.
I think it's important to think about those things when you're at your lowest, to be like, I've gotten to this point and this is a low. Like, I'm still better than who I was, and I'm going to continue to get better from here.
Hmm. Yeah, and you have to be able to recognize that. Is
Mm-hmm.
this like I always here's something I always say. You know, like people talk about glass ceilings, this, that, and the other, right? Like I always say, like you have to treat it as floors to a house. Like make like break through that glass ceiling and then make the ceiling your floor and then build from there. Because there's always another level and you just have to get through it. And there's always a way through it.
Yes.
That way through might take you 5 years, but there's always a way through it. And then on the beauty of that, when you do get up to that next level, you can reach down and bring people with you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't bring people with you on the way up because you can't pull people into somewhere that they don't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on a journey. So, you know, like being able to like view it as this version of Sully is on a new level than the past version, it was really, really cool. And it was a great reminder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you feel like were some of the lowest moments of the journey, but it sounds like that probably was up there, that sixth marathon.
Yeah, I think after mile one, it was just like, so mile one, I think I went out of the gate and we were running like 8 minute miles, something like that. And I literally told my friend, I'm like, Christian, go. I can't do like, I literally couldn't bend my leg. So I was just like, I can't do this. I didn't have it in the tank that day, but I knew that I had a marathon in the tank that day. Didn't
Yeah,
know how I was going to get there, but I knew I had it.
one step at a
Um,
time. That's how you do it.
Left foot,
Walking,
right foot,
running,
repeat.
crawling, doesn't matter.
Yep, yep. And like I can't remember what mile it was, but they posted the video of it. And I came into the checkpoint area and I was just like, you know, Martin Luther King says that if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. And I was like, this is what we're doing today. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter. Just keep moving forward. And like that's just that quote was just in my mind the entire time. It's just like, all right, cool. Like if it comes down to crawling, we're gonna be crawling, but we're gonna get to the end.
Hmm. What are some things that come into your mind, or how do you get through moments like that where it seems like this is impossible?
Knowing that you have breath in your lungs, it's not. You know, Steve Harvey says this, so I can't even take credit for it. He's just like, you woke up today, you have air in your lungs. That means God's not done with you.
Correct.
So if you have breath in your lungs, there's always a way forward. May
Hmm.
not feel like it. That's where it goes back to controlling the controllables. Well, what's my controllable? I can take one more step. Left
Hmm.
foot, right foot, repeat, and I'll get to 26.2. And like that works for pretty much everything in life. Get fired from a job, it's like, damn, that sucks. Cool. What can I do? Well, I can update my LinkedIn. I can update my resume. I can go seek out a class to gain a skill to then make my resume look better. Left foot, right foot, repeat.
Hmm. The beauty of life is like, shitty things happen to everyone, but they don't have to happen to you. They can happen for you. Something Ed Milet says all the time. I'm sure you've heard.
Yep.
But we're not in control of everything. We're just in control of how we respond. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because when you look at it like that, you feel way more empowered.
Mhm. Yeah, and the first time I ever heard it, I was on a flight line in Afghanistan, and my friend Ryan, he hit me with, you know, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And it was like so powerful to me in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was 23 years old, kind of lost at that point in time. And I was just like, damn, all right. You can hear the glass shatter.
Yep.
And it's just because like legitimately like that should give you power in itself. It's just like it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it after it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And you like being able to move forward and having that empowering thought, like if everything starts with a thought and then you can move forward from there. Like you can be like, I always say like, why me, try me. Like the only time I use try normally is just like, okay, like you can sit here and be like, oh, why me, why did this happen to me, why this, why that, or you can be like, try me, motherfucker, like bring it on.
Fuck yeah.
Like there's so much power in saying try me, bring it on, compared to, oh, why did this happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more power into the try me, bring it on message, that a lot of people miss that because it's but like you said, it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like it did. And it sucked. Like you could have got cut out from the knees and like knocked on your butt. It happened. But it happened for you and like there's a lesson in it. And if you don't learn the lesson, it's going to happen again. So I
Yep.
suggest you learn the lesson.
Yeah, I truly believe that everything does happen for a reason. And a lot of times we can't see it in the moment why it's happening. But if we have that right perspective towards it, eventually we'll
Hmm.
look back and be like, wow, I'm really glad that it happened because it taught me so much and it pushed me into this path that I never thought that I would have been on.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. And it comes down to control the controllables every day. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can wake up and make my bed. I can wake up and read. I can wake up and do outbound calls. I can wake up and do reach outs online. Like those are the things I could do even when I couldn't walk, when
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't sneeze. I can wake up and eat the right food that I know that is right for my nutrition and for my goals.
Yep.
Those
Yep.
are the things that I can control. And when I control those enough days in a row, like it's going to start looking good.
Mm-hmm. And that's something like when I look at you on social media, I look at you and I say, well, first of all, number one, this guy is real. Like he doesn't just share the fun stuff, he shares it all. But also, this dude is a consistent motherfucker. And I really respect that. What are some non-negotiables that you never skip?
Well, if you've been paying attention, thank you, by the way. Um, like this last year, I wanted to make sure that I made my bed every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Um, so this last year, I was just like, I'm gonna make my every bed every day, and that just came from in 2024. I said I was gonna do it, and I didn't. I think I stopped like in March or something like that, and I was just like, huh, okay, well, I should do that this year. And it was kind of a challenge to myself. So now it's like that. So now a non-negotiable is just like make my bed, start with a win, right? And now it fits with stacking W's. So reading is a non-negotiable for me, as we discussed. Like that's the way to get better. Like if I can learn from somebody else's failure, I'm going to do it because
Mm-hmm.
like I want to skip as many levels as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to learn that lesson without having to go through it.
Yeah.
So I do that as much as possible, and that comes from reading the books, um, and getting those golden nuggets over and over and over again. And
Mm-hmm.
then I have to move. I always do my walk and talks. I think they're fun. It's a fun way to share lessons from my past. It's a fun ways to like kind of update people that do pay attention. Um, that it's just like a fun way to have a check-in, right?
Yeah.
So like there was multiple times last year when I was just like I'm on my walk and talk and we hobbling because we're keeping promises to ourselves. And then the thing that we were talking about earlier is just like you keep the promise to yourself to get confidence in yourself, and then you gain momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So a walk in, like I walk for an hour a day minimum, because I don't want to fake it. So like there's a lot of people that'll go down for a walk, like we're walking and talking and then go inside. I don't do
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and then like most of the time I do go to the gym, just to stay in routine.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not a requirement because if I went for an hour run, I don't necessarily need to go to the gym, but I
Mm-hmm.
go to the gym to do mobility work. I go to the gym to create that community around me. I go to the gym to get stronger. Like there's so many things that going to the gym positively impacts my life, because I have the ability to do it. I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when it comes to business wise, like just show up to the best of my ability for the people that I have in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That could be clients, that could be outreaches, that could be my parents. Like just doing that, and those are like my non-negotiables. And then like everything else can fill the gaps in there.
Absolutely. I love it. And I think that a lot of people appreciate your walk and talks. I know I have a client specifically who like loves your walk and talks and she did a Spartan race because she was inspired by you. So just know that like you're inspiring people even if you don't know it, you know?
Well, that warms my heart to hear, because I distinctly remember at the end of 2023, I got really frustrated. You know, maybe the algorithm changed or my message was stale the way I delivered it, or people could feel that like I was getting frustrated, and I stopped it
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't think enough people were listening. I didn't think enough people were interacting. And at the end of 2024, because I did a couple of them and everybody was just like, "Oh, we really like these, this, that, and the other." And then I was just like, how selfish of me was it because I wasn't getting the traction that I wanted or this, that, and the other. And I was just like, wow. So on December 7th of last year, I literally wrote down, I'm like, 2025 is going to be the year that sets me and my family up for the rest of my life. And how then I flipped it over and I said, how am I going to do that? A walk and talk every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something that I did enjoy doing when it first started. I just got caught up in my own BS and my own mind, like, oh, this isn't making an impact. It's not doing this. People aren't listening. Um, when realistically looking back, those 400 views on a video, like imagine 400 people in a room.
Yep.
And like when I reflected at the end of 2024, I was just like, how selfish am I to not give this information to those 400 people just
Hmm.
because I didn't think that was enough people. So I made it a point in 2025, and I love doing them because, we all have experiences to share. And my experience is going to be packaged different than your experience, and maybe something can come through on it.
Hmm.
And like, I just personally enjoy doing them selfishly. Now I enjoy doing them just because I enjoy sharing things and keeping things fun and having a good time. So that's why I love the walk and talks just for that. And I do have a that's why it warms my heart to hear that people are listening and it is inspiring to people.
Yeah. I know that sometimes you need that reminder because just like you said, if you see like 400 views, it's very easy to be like, oh, that's frustrating. Like,
Mhm.
but 400 people, that's a lot of people. Imagine just like that. There's one person that got so much taken away from that they went and they did something different today. And
Yep.
that's really what it's all about.
It really is. And like, I know I say it as a coach, like if I can just help one person, it was worth it.
Hmm.
And I have a feeling you're the same way. And like,
Yeah.
yes, do we want to help more people? But if I can just help one person today, like it was worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's the way I operate. I had to check the old ego at the door
Hmm.
and start operating from, just giving and giving and trusting the universe is going to come back and
Hmm.
me fill my life with the right people.
Absolutely. So now that you're done with your marathons or the marathon journey, there at least, what's kind of
Yep.
next for you? Do you have anything that you've been thinking about that you want to do next, or is it kind of like let me chill and recover a little bit first, Caitlin? Like, dear Lord,
Ooh, I don't know if chill and recovery is like in my bloodstream.
I don't think it is in mine either, but apparently some people do that.
My body says chill and recover, dude.
Yeah,
You need it.
my body screams at me
Um,
some days.
yes, yes. So I'm still kind of rehabbing some stuff, just getting back lifting. Instead of running, I'm on like the elliptical or something like that, or doing more rucks, doing more walks, things like that. But right now it looks like a couple of high rocks events in 2026.
Nice.
And that's just because functional fitness, it kind of flows with all the type of training that I do like.
Yeah.
Um, and then it looks like I'm going to be doing a triathlon towards the end of the year.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's the
Yeah.
next stepping stone here. Like,
And there's a reason for that is because like I'm a really good sinker. And um,
scary. So let's get into something that
2.4
scares you.
miles in the water does scare me a little bit. So um, like I've always been one to be like fine in the water. Obviously, I'm here. I haven't drowned yet. But 2.4 miles changes the game for me because it's going to be a full triathlon.
Hmm.
And the one that I have eyed up, I'm waiting on a couple of sponsorship things, so I can't really announce too much right now. But it quite possibly is top five in the world's toughest triathlons.
Of course.
So
I don't see you not doing anything less.
yes, yes. So that's all I can tease right now, but that looks to be the one that I have my eyes set on. Uh, so that we're gonna be sending it again this
Hell yeah.
year. Let's
Hell
just put
yeah.
it that way.
Hell yeah. I love that. And I really like going back to like a lot of the things that we've spoken about. The reason why you do it is like that scared the crap out of me. So that means I
Yep.
have to do it. That's why I love CrossFit so much, is because I'll get like my programming from my coach in the morning and look at it and be like, that's like you have butterflies like all day leading up into that training session. And that's why I love it so much. And I
Hmm.
think that when you face your fears, that's just everything you want is on the other side of your fears. Like I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah, and it's so true.
Hmm.
Like if you think back in like every all the fears that you've faced, like on the other side of it, it's like, oh my God, this wasn't that bad.
Yep.
Like, and
Every
this is
single time.
everything that I wanted right now. And it's just like that wasn't that scary. Why did I build this monster up in my head? Um and oh my gosh. I had something on my brain, but then this popped up. His name Jordan Peterson, controversial, whatever, doesn't matter. He's like the best way to slay a dragon is to turn around and face it.
Facts.
Like let's face it today when it's small, and let's not build it up in our brain over a year so that we can face it and then move on. And like
Yeah.
once we're through it, like we're still going to be here or we're not. And suddenly it's not our problem anymore.
Mm.
Like it's quite all right. Like, I
You
don't know.
truly feel like a superhero too when you overcome a fear like that. You feel like you can do anything at that point. It's like bring on more, you know?
Exactly. Because that gives you positive momentum. You kept a promise to yourself. Going back to the
Absolutely.
original, like where we started this conversation. Like when you face your fears, you're facing everything that you didn't know you could get through. And then when you realize you can, it's just like, wow, this is awesome. I feel on top of the world. Let's go get the next one.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm going to ask you one more question to finish it off, kind of like a nice little closer. But what do you feel like is if you were to give somebody one message for somebody who's avoiding discomfort or avoiding something that they really want to pursue, what would you tell that person?
Oh, it's going to, damn. All right. So this is going to sound so first worldy, but hear me out. I am going to say spend money to get a coach. So, and it has to be a coach that you trust can hold you
Mhm.
accountable to the goal.
Truth.
And this is where I say, like, don't spend a buck 95 on a coach. No, no, no. You want to spend money on a coach because they are going to be able to coach you through your doubts. They are going to be able to give you a program to get to that goal and surpass that goal. And let's be real, the people who pay attention.
Facts.
As a
Truth.
human, it's just human. Like when I spend money to get a coach, or like I spend money on this big old registration fee, which then I get a coach because I spent money on this big old registration fee, I am going to follow through on my word.
Hmm.
It is just an extra nugget of motivation. And I know that's out of the ordinary of what people say. Like you want a tactical thing, you know what? You know what you have to do. You really do. Like in your mind, if you sat down today, you could write down what you have to do. Now, are you going to do it? Are you going to act upon it? That's where I would say just take one small step in the right direction and let the momentum build. That's like what I want to say. But if you don't have systems in place to hold you accountable to that step, I can't do it for you. You can't, like, you're the only one that can do it. So if you spend money on a coach that you respect and that you don't want to let down, like, personally, that's the biggest hack. Um,
I think that
I
I love that too. I really do. I think
I
that that's
know it's different.
so
I know it's
underrated
different. Yeah.
because the
Like,
reality is I can go to Chat GPT and be like, give me the plan that makes me lose 20 pounds. And it's going to spit out a plan.
yep.
And who cares how perfect it looks if you don't do it and if you don't have like
Well,
that accountability and that drive. Like my brother for a really long time, he'd always ask me for fitness advice, this and that, and he would never apply it until earlier this year. He's getting married, or he got married and he was getting married, and he was like, I want to hire you as a coach, I will pay you. And he got his shit together finally because he was
mhm.
actually putting his money into it, and then that made him emotionally invested into it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the key is you have to be invested in it. And like I've been there on Chat GPT. I put in things. Want to know what I don't do when it gives me this whole list? I don't read through the whole thing. I skim it. So I'm not even getting all the answers. So
Mm-hmm.
like, but when my coach says something, it's like, all right, bet I'll text you when it's done.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's also
And
nice to
it's
take out that mental fatigue. Like I love having that's one of the things, like I don't care how my finances look, I will find a way to pay my
mhm,
coaches because they make me better, which makes me earn more money, which makes me better in life. Because I wake up every morning and my programs in my email, I don't have to fucking think about it. I have to just do it.
mhm. Yep, absolutely. And that's the main thing is just like, and I know that sounds first worldy, and you know what? I don't care. I'm not telling you to work with me. I'm not telling you to work with you. Like I'm telling you, find somebody in your life that can hold you accountable and freaking pay into them, get a coach, and they'll help you execute. Um, and like that's just just what I think. I think
Yeah.
that's like the biggest hack on the face of this planet.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect way to end it. And I think that this has been an incredible episode. So Sully, thank you so much for taking the time out of your life to be on here because I know you're probably a busy person, just like everybody is.
Yeah. Hey, never too busy for a good conversation.
Hell yeah, I love that. Now, I'll put everything down below in the show notes, but let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Okay, so the best way to find me is Instagram at Sully Luepke, SullylYLuepke. That is the best way to find me, chat with me, keep up with my adventures. That frankly, that's pretty much the only place that I'm active. I'm starting a YouTube to document my triathlon journey. It's
So
at Sully Luepke once again, so it's really easy to find. Same, and then we'll link that as well. So YouTube and Instagram is where I'm most active, and that's it. It's just my first and last name.
amazing. Well, thank you again, Sully, for being on the show. And everybody listening, go out and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.
Thanks for this opportunity. Pleasure to be here.